All right, welcome back. We are picking right up where we left off in our journey, and today we're going to tackle your biggest hurdle yet. We're exploring a really profound and honestly highly misunderstood truth, and that is wealth isn't found, it's invented. My rich dad always reminded us of this one crazy secret. Money is merely an illusion. Ever since we went off the gold standard, it's essentially just a house of cards. It's held together completely by the competence and, frankly, the ignorance of the masses. It's an agreement, and really nothing more. See, the poor and the middle class spend their entire lives working incredibly hard for this illusion. They just trade their precious time for a paycheck. Meanwhile, the rich, they operate on a totally different plane. They understand that they have to use their minds to actually make and invent money instead. Look, if you're driven purely by the fear of being broke or the greed for that next paycheck, you're exactly like a donkey chasing a carrot on a stick. You're working harder and harder, pulling that heavy cart, but you never actually catch the carrot. You're working for something that isn't even truly real. So to stop chasing that carrot, we need to focus on your financial intelligence. To start inventing your own wealth, you've got to awaken the financial genius that's already sitting dormant inside of you. Now, this intelligence isn't just one single skill. It's actually a synergy built on four foundational pillars. You absolutely must master each and every one of these: financial literacy, investment strategies, the market, and the law, if you truly want to step out of the rat race and finally win the game of money. First up is financial literacy. This simply means having the ability to read numbers. But more importantly, it's understanding the actual story those numbers tell about a business or an asset. Because honestly, if you can't read an income statement or a balance sheet, you're just flying blind. The second pillar is investment strategies. This is the exact science and the practical mechanics of how your money can be sent out to generate even more money. Think of it as the playbook for turning the cash you earn into a little army of employees that work for you around the clock. Third, we have the market. This is all about understanding the forces of supply and demand and reading the emotions of the crowd. It's the simple science of recognizing exactly what the public wants, spotting a problem, and creatively offering a solution. And the final pillar is the law. You have to know the accounting, corporate, state, and national rules required to legally protect the wealth you're inventing. Without understanding corporate structures and tax advantages, you're going to lose a massive chunk of your wealth to the government and anyone else trying to take it. Once those four pillars are firmly in place, we arrive at our next critical skill: seeing the invisible. You'll actually start to recognize that the greatest opportunities aren't seen with your eyes at all. They are seen with your mind. To really grasp this, let's look at the famous historical example of Alexander Graham Bell and Western Union. Bell had just patented this revolutionary new device called the telephone, but he was struggling financially, so he offered to sell his tiny new company to the absolute corporate titan of the day, Western Union. Bell asked for what seemed like a totally ridiculous sum at the time: $100,000. Well, Western Union's president viewed the telephone as nothing more than an unscalable toy. So he scoffed at him and completely rejected the offer. Because Western Union literally couldn't see the invisible opportunity right in front of them, they missed out on a multi-billion-dollar industry, and AT&T was born. That is exactly what happens when you rely only on your eyes and not your financial intelligence. By training your mind to spot what everyone else is missing, you can create massive returns. This is exactly how I once turned a mere $5,000 cash into a $1 million asset. But seeing the opportunity isn't enough. To actually seize it in the real world, you have to conquer our final topic: the courage to lose. Here's the tough question you have to ask yourself right now. Are you terrified of losing? The main reason most people never get wealthy, even if they're super smart and capable, is simply because they are absolutely terrified of making a financial mistake. Our traditional school system conditions us to believe that mistakes are terrible, and it punishes us severely for them. But out in the real world, winners know that failing is just an essential step toward winning. Like the saying goes, winners are not afraid of losing, but losers are. Just think about it for a second. As humans, we learn to walk by falling down over and over again. We only learn to ride a bike after scraping our knees a few times. Well, building wealth requires that exact same process of trial, error, and learning. Failure is just part of the process of success. People who avoid failure also avoid success. If you're avoiding failure out of fear, you're automatically dodging success too. You're keeping your financial genius asleep forever, trapped in the safety of the known, and never realizing what you could have actually achieved. So the choice is entirely yours. Are you going to spend your life reacting to fear and endlessly chasing that donkey's carrot? Or are you going to awaken your genius, use your mind to see the invisible, and finally invent your own money? Think carefully on that, and I'll see you in our next lesson.
Subscribe for more personal financial tips.